Hi, I'm Darcey Diehl, and I'm the owner and creator of Lippy Girl Makeup. This is my daughter, Olivia. We're here in our apartment in Whistler, where it's been snowing for about a week. So as you can see, we're a little bit snowed in. And recently I've been asked a lot how I started Lippy Girl, and especially how I used to make lipstick in my own kitchen. So I thought, what a perfect time to make a small video showing you how to make a very simple lipstick recipe, just in case next time you're snowed in and you want to give it a shot, you can. So let's move on over here and I'll show you what I have. Okay, well what I have set up here is a really simple double boiler. Okay, so I've just got a pot and I've got some water boiling with a Pyrex cup in there, and I'm just going to turn that down. And here are our ingredients, so I'm just going to zoom in here. All of these ingredients I bought at a local supplier called Aquarius, and they're just amazing. They have such a great selection. So we have some organic jojoba oil. Now jojoba oil is used on a lot of cosmetics. It's got a really nice kind of scent to it, and it's nice and smooth and moisturizing. I've got some Olive Squalene Oil. So this oil is taken from organic olive plants. And I've got Organic Grapeseed Oil. Now grapeseed oil is great. It was used before parabens, and again in Lippy Girl Makeup, as a preservative. This is castor oil, and it's really important in making lipsticks because it's very thick and viscous, as you can see it in the bottle there, which means it's going to hold our pigment a lot better. The problem with castor oil is it does tend to have a very strong scent, very similar to glycerin. So that is the only reason you'd want to limit the amount of castor oil in your recipe. So the other things I have here is USDA certified organic beeswax pellets. Okay, so we're going to be using those. And then the last things I have are tubes, which were also bought at Aquarius, just empty lip balm tubes, and I've got the cute little pink lids there. And here are the pigments. Now these are our natural pigments. They're iron oxides. Now iron oxide comes in a variety of colors. The two colors I have here are red iron oxide, and this is a yellow-red iron oxide. You can also get blue-red iron oxides, yellow iron oxides, black iron oxides, and this is a brown iron oxide. Okay, and the last thing I have is titanium dioxide. And titanium dioxide is white. It adds to the opacity of your lipstick, but also as a colorant. So what I'm going to do, Olivia, is I'm going to put you down so we can get to some lipstick making. Okay, so in the double boiler, what I'm going to do is I'm going to melt the beeswax first. Okay, so these are already pre-measured 2-ounce packages, so I'm just going to melt the entire 2-ounce package. The importance of the beeswax is that it is a solid wax, and plant oils tend to be liquid, with the exception of some like palm oil. Okay, so the reason why Lippy Girl Makeup moved forward with using natural beeswax is, of course, palm oil is one of the leading causes of deforestation in Malaysia right now, and other alternatives like petroleum products aren't natural. So we went with all natural, USDA certified beeswax. Okay, so we're going to leave that in the double boiler to melt. Okay. Hi, so what I've done is I waited 5 to 6 minutes, and the beeswax is not quite melted, but it gives you an idea of what to expect. It will kind of lump and clump and stick on stuff. Make sure to keep stirring and keep it in the heat, obviously. So we're going to keep that going on the double boiler while I measure out the oils for you. So like I went through the oils and told you about them before, castor oil is a really good oil for lipsticks, especially if you're using oxides to be pigments. A lot of people ask me, what's the difference between a dye and a pigment? It's a big difference actually, and it's an important difference too. If you're using a dye, think about a glass of water. If you drop a dye into a glass of water, the entire glass of water becomes red water. Okay, so that's a dye. Now those come in two different types. There's coal dyes, which are petroleum based, and those are like the red #2, blue #1, numbers that you see on foods and stuff like that. And then there's carmine, which of course is an extract from crushed bugs. It doesn't really fit with the vegetarian, vegan lifestyle. So what's the difference between a dye and a pigment? So when you drop pigment into water, you'll see the pigment just fall to the bottom of the glass. So that's why it's important to use the beeswax and things like castor oil, which are nice and viscous, so that you get a nice emulsion of the oxides and the colorant. And that's the trick to making mineral lipstick. So I'm going to measure out about 1.5 ounces to go in the 2 ounces of beeswax, of castor oil. Now the reason I wouldn't use an entire recipe of just beeswax and castor oil is, like I said, this has a really strong glycerin scent to it. So you don't want that necessarily in your lipstick. So we're going to try to balance that out with some other oils. So I'm going to measure out about 1.5 ounces of this oil. Okay, and then we're going to go to some of the nicer oils, nicer smelling oils, and more moisturizing oils like jojoba oil. And I'm going to use about 1 ounce of that. Okay, then I'm going to move on to the squalene. I'm going to use about 1/2 ounce of squalene. It is a more expensive oil, and again, it's taken from the olive plant. Okay, so about 1/2 ounce of squalene oil. The last thing I'm going to use is the grapeseed oil, and like I said, this is a natural, organic preservative, okay? And it's what those nasty parabens have been replacing. Okay, so if you take a look at our beeswax, it's actually melted down really nicely. There's one last resisting clump in the middle, and you know what? That will kind of melt as we add these oils. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stir that really well, and I'm going to stir in my oils. So my castor oil, and actually you might want to get I'll lift this up for you guys to see what happens when you pour these oils in. You will get an initial solidification because the oils of course are cool. Okay, so they will initially start to solidify, and you can actually see the base of your lipstick forming quite nicely there. Just keep stirring, keep stirring, keep stirring. Okay, so that's going to require some more time on the double boiler. Now while that's on the double boiler, getting back to a liquid state, I'm going to come out over here and I'm going to measure out some of the pigments. Okay, now the pigment that you're going to find in most lipsticks, unless it's like a pure red or a pure burgundy, is titanium dioxide. So why titanium dioxide? Because it's nice and light. Like I said, it will add to the opacity of the lipstick. So I'm going to open that up. We're going to take about 1 teaspoon of this. Now this part is totally up to you. You get to kind of mix your own colors. So I'm going to throw in 1 teaspoon of the white. Oops. Okay. And I have, this is more just a pure red iron oxide. I really like using the blue iron oxide, but I'm all out of the blue-red iron oxide right now. It makes beautiful burgundies and bright pinks. This will give us more of a burnt red, and I'm going to mix it with the brown iron oxide so that we get a deeper red. Oop. Okay, so now I'm measuring out the red iron oxide. I'm going to put 2 teaspoons of that. And you can see like what a great pigment iron oxide can be. Look at the color of that. It's great. It's vibrant. Okay. Now we're going to mix in some brown iron oxide. We're going to take 2 teaspoons of the brown iron oxide. It's going to give us a nice pigment to that. It's good timing actually. My oils, I'm almost been completely melted into the beeswax. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to mix in the pigment. We're going to do it really vigorously. Then we're going to have to leave it to cool. Sorry about that, I had to put the baby down. She's a real talker, my daughter. So what I'm going to do is just show you me adding the pigment to the oils and the beeswax. I'm going to stir it really well, then leave it to cool before we pour it out into the tubes. And I'm going to make sure she goes down for a nap by the time that we're pouring it out into the tubes. So here we go. We're going to add the pigments, the brown, the red, and the titanium oxide to the lipstick. We're going to stir it. Look what a beautiful lipstick we're going to get out of that. I'm going to make sure that I stir it. Now this is the most important part. You do not want your pigment to settle. Do you see how it wants to settle in the bottom of this bowl there? You're going to have to stir really well. This is actually the start of a lipstick that I called Homewrecker. So this is Lippy Girl Homewrecker, the recipe for it. And it's just a beautiful burgundy. It's just a really nice color. So I hope you can see that. But like I said, because those pigments are heavier, they're metal oxides, they will want to settle. And it's your job to make sure they suspend in the oil and the beeswax. So what I'm going to do is stir this really well. Just turn off the double boiler. We don't need that anymore. Set this aside, let it cool. If you notice that it's settling and the oils and the oxides are separating, give it a good stir. You're going to want it to cool down to about room temperature, obviously, so you can pour it in the tubes without melting the plastic. And then once you get it into the tubes, we're going to put it into the freezer to make sure those pigments don't settle out of the oil and the beeswax. So thank you so much. I'll be back to pour these out with you guys. Hi, so I've let it cool down a lot. You can see the lipstick's actually forming. If I scrape the side, there's some gorgeous lipstick there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stir it up. Now if you, like me, get busy and have to entertain your children while you're doing this, you can always warm it up again on the double boiler. So what I'm going to do is just take that out for a second and pour it here. I should probably use a funnel, but there we go. The nice thing about these lip balm tubes that they sell at the soap stores is that when you put it in, you don't have to do anything else. You can twist it up. It's a lot better than using lipstick molds, because then you have to use a lipstick mold and then you have to put it into the base. So it's nice here, you just pour it right into the tube. I'm going to keep the cap off, and then like I said, if you want to make sure that pigment stays nice and steady and doesn't settle, a good way to do that is to put that right in your freezer. So what I'll do is I'll pour out the rest of the lipsticks. Maybe I'll take a shot later of me wearing that lipstick just so you can see how great it is. And thanks so much for watching. Hi, so what I've done is I've waited for the lipsticks to cool in the tubes. I've actually put this one on. It's a little bit darker than Lippy Girl Homewrecker lipstick, but it's great and it's fun and it's healthy. You can experiment at home with your own oxides and get your own recipes. Just a quick note, I did start making these recipes in my kitchen, but then I did outsource to a manufacturer so that they can ensure the quality and consistency that we need for the company. You can get your Lippy Girl makeup at lippygirl.com or ebeauty.ca or at your local retailer, which are listed at lippygirl.com. Thanks so much.